Mark, today we're talking about a solution that's being put together by Integrated Security Technologies out of Herndon, Virginia. And in this case, they have a whole bunch of racks that are being put together for a customer of theirs. Why is it that we're now seeing intrusion detection on an equipment rack, whether it's a data rack, a general equipment rack, or a security rack? Why intrusion detection on these racks?
Well, historically, IT folks have been concerned with the outside threat, people hacking into their systems and servers. More and more lately, they have been concentrating on the physical protection of the data, especially when dealing with HIPAA regulations in the healthcare market. They're required by law to physically protect that data.
And if we're on a campus, we have student information that's inside those racks.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's all kinds of information. Interesting thing that you said to me earlier, when you do a Google search for intrusion detection, what are the first 10 things that come up?
Well, it's all about intrusion detection on IT networks.
Okay.
Versus physical intrusion detection, which is what we're talking about here.
And in this case, with racks like this, it's kind of a convergence of IT and security, right? So we're detecting when one of these racks is opened up. Absolutely. Legitimately or at the wrong time or whatever the case is. And we're also able to know if a rack is forced open. So if either of these things occur, they have a different level of importance. Let's start with first something that's okay, right? I'm scheduled to go in and do some maintenance to the equipment that's in this equipment rack. How there's intrusion detection, but there's a log that goes with it. So how does
Absolutely. With alarm systems, intrusion detection systems, they've always been able to do what's referred to as opening and closing reports, which is simply the system being armed or disarmed, and then reporting the user number or who the actual person was that opened or closed that system, armed or disarmed it. So it provides an audit trail for the users and management, whoever needs to have that information.
So even though I have a PIN number, or a scan card, an ID card, or maybe even biometrics that can take a look at my facial features or my thumbprint or something along those lines, just because I have permission to be in that rack doesn't mean I have permission at a certain time of day or so on and so forth, right?
Correct. It's very flexible with these systems. You can use PIN codes, access cards, biometric control. So there's various different ways that you can access the system or disarm and arm it. That's left up to the customer and how they want to. You can even do dual authentication where you require two methods of identification.
I guess if you had two methods, you could have two people.
Sure, well you could.
Okay, so that's when I'm authorized in some capacity to be here.
Correct.
Okay, I guess a whole different level is if someone else comes in here and tries to get into these equipment racks.
It's the same as a company's premise, their building. The alarm system is there to protect it, and if there's forced entry, it can report to central stations, send notifications through text and email alerts, sound local alarms. So it's very flexible there too as to how you want to monitor that system.
Okay, so on the accessing the rack or the data equipment rack, if I have a card, I can swipe it, open up the rack, and get to what I need to get to. Problem is, the card's not attached to me, if you will, right? I could have found that card in the lunchroom or something else. So we have biometric capabilities that can be implemented into these racks. But aside from that, there's also some video that goes along with this. So tell me just real quick, why would somebody want to know with video? I mean, if I have a card or if I have a number and I put it in, I'm in, right?
Right. Well, now we can provide video verification of openings and closings, for instance, who is actually arming or disarming the system, and alarm verification. When an alarm should a forced entry occur and the alarm is triggered, we can send out a video snapshot
Okay.
of what's going on at the time of the alarm.
So I can get a text message. I can get a snapshot attached to an email.
Sure.
If there's multiple people who are responsible for this facility, that message can go out to a department.
A broader group.
A broader group, and then whoever's on duty that night or whatever
Sure.
the case is can take care of it.
As well as reporting to a central station, or a security command post.
So in the racks that we see here, each one of these has an alarm panel in it. We're not sure where Integrated Security Technologies is sending these racks, but I suppose that you could have one alarm panel in one rack in a room by itself. You could also have 3, 4, 5, 100 racks with one alarm panel. There's a lot of different ways to mix and match this stuff. Why is it one way versus another?
Well, it goes back to levels of security. With one panel inside of each rack, that gives you the highest level of security.
Okay.
Everything is a self-contained unit, so you have no command and control being performed outside the rack.
Okay.
That lessens the chance of somebody defeating a system.
Okay.
If the security is not so high, you might put a control panel in a data room and protect multiple racks with one panel.
Okay.
That can certainly be done. The panels nowadays can go up to 599 points or zones of protection.
So an awful lot of racks monitored by one alarm
Absolutely.
panel or a 1-to-1 ratio. It just
Or
really
anything in between.
It just depends on what the application is.
Absolutely.
Obviously, there's some design criteria that you guys put into figuring out the right path forward for the end user. And obviously, they can get a hold of you on our website.
Absolutely, that's what we're here for.
Okay.
So there's many different variations and configurations, and what's right for one customer might not be right for another. So
Okay.
Very flexible.
That sounds great. I appreciate you sharing this information. It's an interesting topic. It's an interesting project that obviously is being put together here. So check back with us later and let us know how it goes.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
All right. Thanks, Mark.